And Brian from Orlando, buy or sell on the bigger mainstream star at their peak, Hulk Hogan or John Cena? I asked this because I began watching wrestling in 2001 and was not alive during Hulkamania. I know you were a big fan of that era. Just how big was Hulk Hogan? Hulk Hogan was huge, physically and otherwise. He was gigantic. I would not be a fan. A lot of people would not be fans right now were it not for that Hulkamania boom in the mid 80s. I can tell you that. Your question, though, you're asking me to buy or sell on the bigger mainstream star of the two of them at their peak. And I think that's important. And that's why I'm going to buy on Hogan and I'm going to sell on John Cena. I know John Cena right now, he's hosting the ESPY Awards, he's doing Gillette Fusion commercials, he's in real mainstream films and starting to really branch out and do more. In fact, he's got his own sort of spin-off of a Transformers movie. Is it Bumblebee, I think? That's a big deal. Cena is becoming a bigger deal in Hollywood. He's not The Rock, but he's sort of on his way. But I would argue John Cena hasn't been, at his peak for a number of years now. If you think John Cena right now is at his peak, then the answer is John Cena. Because Hulk Hogan never had the kind of success in Hollywood and these other things the way that Cena is now having. But I don't look at this period right now as being Cena's peak. If I had to say what was the peak of John Cena, I would say the peak of John Cena, for me, the peak of John Cena probably was 2011, 2012. The feud with CM Punk, the feud with The Rock. That to me was the peak of John Cena. And these things that he's doing now, he wasn't doing all of that back then. Hogan at his peak, if I had to pinpoint what was Hulk Hogan's peak, and this is kind of funny to say because Hogan's been around for so long, he had the NWO run. You could argue that was another peak. He had two peaks. Not too many people get two peaks in their career. I would argue Hulk Hogan had two different ones. There was the Hulkamania peak, which I would peg at around 86, 87. And then there was the NWO heel Hollywood Hogan peak, which was 96, 97. It's like the tale of two different people. And not too many people, maybe Flair, Rock maybe, well, not really. It's hard to say. Not too many people I would look at and go, oh, this guy had two different big, like massive peaks of popularity in their career. But Hogan's peak was, mid to late 80s, 86, 87, I'd say. And back then, he was on the cover of I think he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I think he became the first and maybe only wrestler ever to be on the cover of SI. He was hosting SNL, many, many years before The Rock did it. Everybody knew who Hulk Hogan was. Even today, people know who he is. But you could go almost anywhere. I feel like you can go anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, back then, late 80s, early 90s. And he had such a distinctive look with the the handlebar mustache. The do-rag came many years later, but everybody knew who Hulk Hogan was. Even though his career in Hollywood never took off, because frankly, he just wasn't a very good actor. That's just the simple answer, really. You ask yourself, how come Hulk Hogan didn't take off in Hollywood? Because he wasn't that good. But yeah, at their peak, I got to buy on Hogan and sell on Cena. Cena's doing great now, but he's not at his peak. Cena, to me, is many years off his peak.